The ending of Infinity War was absolute insanity, but if you're anything like me, you thought the ending to Avengers Endgame was even crazier. In this video, we're breaking down the ending of Endgame. We're talking about what really happened to our favorite characters. Oh, we're getting into the spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this. We do it for the fans. What's up, everybody? I am Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. If you loved Endgame, you might want to subscribe. We're going to do a ton of videos coming out very soon. But again, I want to warn you, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. There's spoilers in this video. If you watch this video from here, you're gonna get spoiled. All right, let's break down this ending. Now, the first part of the ending is when Professor Hulk does his own snap to bring back all of the dusted characters from Infinity War. It's a really crazy scene. Thor, of course, wants to do it because he wants to regain his honor, but it can't be him. Hulk knows that it's only gonna be him. He's the only one that can survive the power. He puts on the Stark gauntlet and it immediately rocks his world, devastating his arm, almost killing him, but it doesn't. He's able to do it and perform the snap. And what's crazy is it works. So what exactly happens here, you ask? Well, I'll tell you right now. Basically, all of these characters do come back, and they do seem to come back with all of the clothes and the objects that they had on them. This is how Hawkeye's wife is able to call him, very similar to how Shuri has her blasters, Falcon has his wings. Certain things that these characters had on them, they're back. It also appears that no time has passed for these characters whatsoever. They're just gone and then they're back. They all seem to pop back up where they were before, which probably causes some problems for maybe people that were in planes and flying through the air. I mean, we see Doctor Strange, Drax, Mantis, and a lot of the characters that were dusted on Titan come back, and there's Titan in the background past the sling ring portal. Similarly, Black Panther and a lot of the characters that fell during the Battle of Wakanda, you can see Wakanda behind them. And super convenient, by the way, that they were already having a battle and were armed and ready for fighting, and then they get to just come back and fight. Now, the next part of the ending is pretty tragic. Thanos then bombs the Avengers facility, devastating it, and bringing his whole army down, fights the original Avengers. And despite it going pretty well with Captain America picking up Mjolnir eventually and that just being absolutely amazing, they actually still lose. Thanos breaks Captain America's shield, and just when it seems like Cap is done for, he stands up ready to fight again and hears on his comms a familiar voice. It's Sam Wilson. He's asking if Cap is all right, and he's saying that help is coming. On your left, the sling ring portals open and amazing amounts of heroes start pouring through to the Avengers facility to join Captain America in his fight against Thanos and his armies. So yeah, it's amazing. One of the best scenes ever in comic book movies. But what exactly is going on here? Well, basically this is all to do with Doctor Strange. We know this for a couple of different reasons. I mean, first of all of the characters that end up coming to this battle do come through sling ring portals via other sorcerers out there. And we know that it was Doctor Strange because he saw what was going to happen in Endgame. He knew that this was going to take place, that it had to take place in order for them to defeat Thanos. And besides that, Peter Parker explains firsthand what it was like to wake up from the snap. Doctor Strange was there and said, 5 years has passed. We got to go help everybody. And then they were gone. This, of course, means that Doctor Strange knew what was going on. So even though it's Cap that says Avengers Assemble, it is likely Doctor Strange that got all of these different parties to show up to this battle. Pretty cool. The next part of the ending is, of course, Tony Stark's snap and ultimate sacrifice. Despite all of these new heroes coming in the Avengers Assemble moment, this battle being really intense, Thanos actually ends up getting the stones anyways. And he's about to snap, and people are really trying to prevent this because this time, he's not just trying to snap half, he's trying to snap whole. He wants to kill everybody in the universe and then just start over. It's like even worse than half. So eventually what ends up happening is Tony Stark gets all of the stones off of the Stark gauntlet that Thanos has. He absorbs them into his armor, forms them up in his fist, and then ends up doing his own snap, which destroys Thanos and all of Thanos' army. The force of this wounds and ends up killing Tony Stark. I mean, the energy is crazy. He saves whatever last bit of energy he has inside himself to have a discussion with Pepper. It's super sad. She tells him he can finally rest because everyone is safe, and yeah, then he passes. Although, and we're gonna touch on this in some videos coming out soon, There's no body at the end of the movie, and I'm not convinced that he's actually gone. Now, the last part of the ending, the actual ending to the film, is all about Captain America's second life. At the end of the film, Steve is tasked with taking all of the Infinity Stones back throughout time, putting them back where they belong, and then coming back to the present. He misses his jump back to the present, and then it is revealed that he actually spent a second life where he went back to the 40s after putting the Infinity Stones back and spent a whole lifetime with Peggy Carter. Now, this actually breaks the most time travel rules out of anything in the film, and it takes the most mental gymnastics to sort of wrap your head around it, but we all just love Cap and Peggy so much that we're gonna let it go. Now, for me, what I think would happen here is Steve would go back to when he was in the ice, and he would spend all of that time while him in the present of that time was in the ice with Peggy. That way, no chance of paradox, no chance of anything crazy like that. He would probably assume a new identity. They would have this other life. She would marry him. And then when it was time for him to come out of the ice, which I think was like, what, 2012 or whatever, he would step away, walk away, and they probably wouldn't see each other ever again. But he'd have the knowledge of the life that they had together. She'd have that knowledge. And what's weird is maybe that's even why she says to Steve in Winter Soldier that sometimes the best we can do to move on is to start over. Maybe that's why that was in the trailer. Pretty crazy stuff. Either way, that's likely what happened, and good for Cap. But there's another aspect to this which is really weird, and this would be Bucky Barnes. Now, when I watched this scene, I thought Bucky had something up his sleeve. He knew something that the other characters didn't. When Steve misses his jump back, he simply smiles, and then, although he is shocked to actually see the old man Steve Rogers, he knows exactly who it is, and he knows that he has to send Sam over there. I mean, he nods when Steve talks to him about getting the shield and becoming Captain America. There's just so much in that scene that it really seems like Bucky not only knew the plan, but might have even been conversing and having relations with old man Steve Rogers as he was now kind of, lonely towards the end of his life. Either way, it's an incredible ending for Captain America, but it does leave the door open for future appearances. He leaves in a time machine with the Infinity Stones, and then we see him later as an old man. There's so many possibilities there for future stories and things they want to do down the road. I don't think we've seen the last of young Captain America with that hammer, and maybe with the Infinity Stones as well. But that's it, guys. That is the ending of Avengers Endgame explained to you and what really happened to those characters and how it's open for them to return. Let me know what you think of all of that. Now let's shout out John K. Kincaid. Indeed, Spider-Man Far From Home is the last movie of Phase 3, and let's do another nerd card question right now. The question is, what was Pepper Potts reading about when Tony Stark told her that he had figured out time travel? Weird little anecdote in the film, but what was she reading about when Tony ended up telling her that? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.